I want to go back to the day that the two of you had a conversation. Like I said, I think there's a lot of questions that weren't asked, and I fall back on many years of experience of investigating, supervising, and managing investigations, and that's where a lot of my questions are coming from. When you guys met at Starbucks, by chance, do you know any of the employees there?
No, I don't.
And if my memory serves me right, in that same complex where Starbucks is located, there are several small businesses. Do you know any of those business owners or employees that work for those businesses?
No.
And when you guys arrived at Starbucks, were you guys seated inside, outside?
Outside.
Across from one another, next to one another?
Who's to my left?
Was anyone else sitting in close proximity to the two of you?
There were two males that were at the table, which would be to our left, that were there prior to Councilman Subaru's arrival. When the councilman arrived, I took it as he knew somebody. I think it was a retired CHP officer or something. They had exchanged pleasantries, and then Mike sat down, and they were there for a period of time while we were there.
That was going to be one of my questions. At any point during your conversation, did anyone interrupt you, even to say hi? Break into the conversation? There
was a point that while we were there, someone did walk up to go into the Starbucks, stopped to talk to Councilman Subaru. I don't remember what it was about, but I thought it was something along the lines of maybe a student or something that matter, and they exchanged business cards. And
what part of the conversation that you guys were having, what part of it was it, if you remember?
I think it was probably within the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
It was unremarkable for me because it wasn't somebody that was coming to me to speak to me, so perhaps the councilman has a better recollection of the time frame.
Did you see anyone else there that you personally know?
No, I did not.
And approximately how long did your guys' meeting last?
About an hour and 10 minutes maybe.
And during your interview, a couple times you used the term, he tried to big league me. Can you, so we're all on the same page here, can you define big league me?
I thought it was pretty clear in my statement. It was just a term, in essence, he was letting me know his position versus my position. That was how I felt.
So going back to the interruptions again, was it just the one time that there was an interruption during your conversation?
To the best of my recollection, it was just the one time in the middle of our conversation.
Okay. And you also said during your conversation you guys had a spirited conversation. Can you describe that conversation again, and was it interrupted?
The spirited conversation, I would say, was the back and forth between him and I as to the needs to carry out what he intimated the council wanted done with relationship to panhandling, transits, et cetera, that it was a larger project and problem than just the police departments, and the council couldn't leave the police chief and the police department holding the bag on it. There needed to be public works involved. I mean, you have transcripts, so
okay.
Rather than rehash it, that was the comments that were made. And then we weren't interrupted because of the conversation. It was just an interruption from somebody walking, like I said, through the parking lot. I think he made eye contact with Councilman Subaru. They appeared to know each other, exchanged pleasantries and business cards.
Okay. And while you were at Starbucks that day, and because there's talk of texting and cell phone calls, is that your personal cell phone or is it a city cell phone?
Oh, that's mine.
And did anybody ever ask you for your phone records?
No one asked me for my phone records. I was asked if I had kept text messages, and my response then, as it is now, is no, I don't save text messages. I don't see the need to do so. And
if you were asked during this investigation for your phone records, would you have provided them?
Depends on what they wanted.
Okay. And after your meeting, who was the very first person you contacted?
I contacted two people. I don't recall the exact order at this point. It was so long ago, but I know one was my vice president, Aurelio Melendrez, and the other was the assistant chief, Chief Chris Vecino.
And Do you remember where you were when you made those phone calls? Were you still at Starbucks?
I was walking to my car from the front of Starbucks.
And the meeting you had with Alicia Robinson, who initiated that?
That was an impromptu meeting, I think, as I described. I showed up at the Rpoa office, and Alicia was there for the first meeting. She was there at the office talking to the office staff, and then she asked me if I had a few minutes for her.
And she told you she had a source on the 7th floor?
She didn't mention the source on the 7th floor until the second conversation that her and I had, and I think that's pretty clear in the transcripts, but she intimated that the 7th floor was, there was a concern about the city manager's job and Sergio Diaz's job. That was in the first conversation that her and I had. She didn't ask me if I'd heard that. She just wanted to bounce those scenarios off of me.
And do you know if that conversation was recorded?
I think I know of the second one. She asked if she could record it. I don't know if the first one was recorded. Only she would be able to answer that.
Okay. I have no further questions for you. Thank you.
Councilman Gardner, followed by Councilman Subaru.